Our story explodes onto the scene under the cloak of night. A man, bruised and battered, sprints for his life. He's a blur of motion, a desperate shadow fleeing from enemies who have left him teetering on the edge. Have to hide, he thinks, every ragged breath a painful reminder of his dwindling strength. If they catch me now, it's over. He knows he needs to disappear completely. Just then, he spots a fat, unassuming cat. A wild plan sparks in his mind. He lunges towards the feline, and in a blinding flash of light, everything changes. The next day, we meet our hero, Jiwoo, a kind-hearted high schooler with a major soft spot for cats. He's in a shop, his eyes wide with glee. Cat snacks are on a massive sale. These treats are usually a luxury, but now he can afford to stock up. He gets a little carried away, imagining himself buying the entire store's supply for his furry friends. After a moment of sheepish realization that he came to shop for himself, he buys the snacks anyway, picturing the happy faces of the neighborhood strays. Suddenly, his shopping trip is interrupted. A little boy chases a ball into the street, completely oblivious to the car hurtling towards him. Without a second thought, Jiwoo moves. To the stunned onlookers, it's like he vanished and reappeared in an instant. One moment, the boy was in mortal danger. The next, Jiwoo was holding him safely, whispering, "Be careful next time, okay?" The child's mother rushes over, terrified but grateful, asking how her son was saved. The boy points a shaky finger at Jiwoo, but our hero has already slipped away, muttering, "Whoa, that was too close. I almost revealed my powers." That night, Jiwoo brings the gourmet snacks to his usual trio of stray cats. "Sorry I'm late, guys, school ran long," he apologizes, wondering if the three are a family or just best buds. But the cats just sniff the food and turn away. Jiwoo's face falls. "You don't like them, I spent all my money on these." The cats, however, seem to be trying to tell him something. They meow insistently, leading him down a dark alley. There, lying injured and unconscious, is a fluffy, yellow cat. Without hesitation, Jiwoo scoops him up and brings him home. Later, the yellow cat's eyes flutter open. Where am I?" he thinks, his mind hazy. He remembers the chase, the desperate plan. He looks down at his paws and a horrifying realization dawns on him. He has become a cat. That blinding flash when he touched the stray was a last-ditch transformation. Just then, the door creaks open. Jiwoo peeks in, a gentle smile on his face. "Oh, you're awake. I was so worried." "Don't worry, little guy, you're safe here." The man, now trapped in a fluffy feline body, can only think one thing. This boy is a complete fool. This powerful being, the great Kayden, was now at the mercy of a kind, clueless teenager. Trapped and furious, Kayden watches as Jiwoo chatters on, oblivious. The boy brings him a bowl of cat food. "You must be starving. Eat this, it'll help you recover." The smell is revolting. Kayden recoils in disgust. Jiwoo, misunderstanding, offers to mix something else in. "How dare this human offer me the great Kayden cat food?" He fumes internally before remembering his current, very fluffy predicament. To regain his strength, he has to eat. But just as he's about to lower his head in defeat, Jiwoo scoops him up. "Let's just see if you're a boy or a girl." "Put me down," a deep, masculine voice booms. Jiwoo freezes, looking around the empty room. "I said put me down, or I'll carve a new hole in your skull," Kayden roars. Jiwoo's eyes widen in terror as he stares at the talking cat in his arms. This isn't happening. Kayden, losing all patience, threatens, "Be quiet, you're making too much noise. One more peep and I'll claw your eyes out." Terrified, Jiwoo can only stammer out his name when the furious feline demands it. "A chair, bring me a chair, now," Kayden orders. Jiwoo scrambles to obey. With a surprising lack of grace for someone so mighty, Kayden struggles to climb onto the chair. This body is so weak. He grumbles before fixing Jiwoo with a death glare. "If you breathe a word of this to anyone, you're dead. Got it?" Jiwoo nods frantically. Just then, Kayden catches his reflection in a mirror. He sees a chubby cat with a double chin staring back. He falls off the chair in shock. "I'm a fat cat. I, the great Kayden, have become a chonky, double-chinned house cat." He faints from the sheer horror of it all. Jiwoo rushed to his side, thinking he had fainted. Kayden realized he was too weak to transfer to another body. He was stuck. When Jiwoo begged him not to die, Kayden snapped, "Stop it. I didn't pass out." Once calm, Jiwoo asked, "You're a cat, but you talk." "I'm a human," Kayden explained tiredly. "I'm just temporarily in this form. The details are too complicated for you to understand." An awkward silence fell between them until Kayden's stomach growled again. Jiwoo offered the food, reasoning that a cat's body needed cat food to heal properly. Conceding the point, Kayden tried the food and was shocked to find it delicious. He ate until he was completely full. Later that night, Jiwoo announced he was going to the veterinary clinic for more cat food. Wary of letting Jiwoo go alone, Kayden agreed to accompany him. Annoyed but too tired to walk, he allowed Jiwoo to carry him tucked inside his jacket. At the clinic, the doctor examined Kayden and found only minor scratches. "There's no serious injury," the doctor concluded, "but he should definitely go on a diet." On the walk home, Kayden's ears twitched. He sensed something. Suddenly, a monstrous white cat with scarlet eyes and the build of a tiger emerged from an alley, drool dripping from its mouth. "Run!" Jiwoo yelled. They sprinted away, but the monster cat was fast. It lunged, and Jiwoo dodged, tumbling into a stack of trash cans while shielding Kayden with his body. "What do we do?" Jiwoo panted, his shirt torn. "If only we had a weapon." He then remembered the toy from the store and pulled it out, a long stick with a furry bauble on the end. He waved it defensively at the monster. The monster cat stopped, its eyes locked on the swinging toy. It pounced not at them, but at the dangling bauble. "This is our chance," Jiwoo whispered to Kayden. But Kayden wasn't looking for an escape route. To his own immense frustration, he found his eyes and his entire body's instincts, completely mesmerized by the swinging toy. The simple object triggered a memory for Kayden. He remembered his human form, standing victorious on a battlefield as lightning cracked around him. Defeated opponents, powerful, awakened themselves, admitted his superiority. Whispers followed him everywhere. He was the unbeatable challenger, a man so strong that even the world's most famous organizations no longer dared to face him. He recalled offers of immense power, with men in suits promising to make him their second-in-command to conquer the world, and others kneeling before him, begging him to join their cause. The memory faded as Jiwoo's voice cut through his thoughts, asking what he was doing. Kayden found himself instinctively batting at the cat toy. Annoyed at his own feline impulse, he looked back just as the monster cat pounced. In a single, powerful leap, it snatched the toy from Jiwoo's hands and ran off with its prize. The monster eventually spat the toy out, its aggression seemingly calmed. Walking down the street with Kayden in his arms, Jiwoo worried. The cat was too large and strangely aggressive to be normal. Kayden, ever practical, suggested its owner probably didn't feed it enough. When the cat was out of sight, Jiwoo thought they were safe, but Kayden pointed out the danger to anyone else who might cross its path. Jiwoo, realizing he hadn't considered this, became distressed. Kayden told him the only logical response was to run, but Jiwoo refused to leave it to harm others. He couldn't call for help, as he'd left his phone at home. Seeing Jiwoo's stubborn determination to face the creature alone, Kayden sighed in exasperation. He knew the boy would get himself hurt. "If you're really going to do something," Kayden said, "then I'll help you." He explained that he would lend Jiwoo a small, temporary portion of his own power, enough to reason with the cat. Jiwoo crouched down, and Kayden touched his paw to the boy's forehead. Jiwoo felt a powerful surge of energy flow into him. As he was admiring this new strength, the monster cat returned. Confident, Jiwoo stepped forward, telling Kayden to stay back. The monster attacked, and Jiwoo dodged with incredible speed. Kayden watched intently, realizing something crucial. Jiwoo was not using the electrical power he had just been given. He was moving with his own innate ability. His reactions were impossibly fast for a normal human, proving he was reading the cat's movements and responding instinctively. Remembering Kayden's warning that power wouldn't last long, Jiwoo focused on avoiding the attacks, waiting for the right moment. The opportunity came when the cat lunged again. Jiwoo dodged, pushed off a nearby wall, and unleashed the power Kayden had given him. A blast of lightning erupted from his hands, striking the cat in a deafening explosion. The fight was over. Jiwoo sat on the floor, breathing heavily, while the creature's monstrous form shrank until it was just a normal, unconscious white cat. The man sat down on the railing, perched high atop one of the antennas, his eyes fixed on his phone. With a furrowed brow, the gray-haired man muttered under his breath, something wasn't right. For some reason, the device couldn't locate the sample he had cultivated. He sighed in frustration. An hour ago, it showed the sample was right here. Now, it was gone. He began to suspect the device was malfunctioning. He even questioned whether it was worth it to awaken the seal on the sample himself. His grip on the phone tightened until it creaked. He didn't want to use force, it would attract the bloodhounds, but at this point, he saw no other option. Closing his eyes, he wrestled with the decision. This might be my only chance, if the experiment works. When he opened his eyes, they glowed a deep crimson. Scarlet energy rippled out from his body in every direction like a storm ready to break loose. Later in Jiwoo's house, he finished bandaging the cat's minor injuries. Kayden then asked him about his incredible speed. Jiwoo nervously begged him not to tell anyone, at which point Kayden finally explained what he was. He told Jiwoo about Awakened, humans born with special abilities. He explained that Jiwoo was one of them, and that there were others in the world with powers just like him. Tears filled Jiwoo's eyes. He confessed that he had spent his entire life hiding his ability, believing he was a monster. He had constantly moved with his mother to avoid suspicion, always living in fear. The knowledge that he wasn't sick or abnormal, but simply an awakened, was an overwhelming relief. The quiet, emotional moment was interrupted when their stomachs growled. Jiwoo got himself a piece of bread, and seeing Kayden was also hungry, poured a bowl of cat food. This time, Kayden ate it without complaint. As they shared their meal, a strange, sinister energy seeped into the room. Kayden felt it instantly. The white cat on the couch woke with a start, panicked. It darted around the room, found an open window, and leaped out into the night, fleeing the unseen threat. Jiwoo and Kayden were left staring after it, knowing a new danger had just arrived. Suddenly, Jiwoo caught Kayden's attention. The boy was getting ready to head out, pulling his cap down with determination. Kayden asked what he was doing. Jiwoo replied firmly that he had to find that cat. They couldn't risk him attacking someone. Kayden stepped in front of him, blocking his path, and told him not to interfere again. He reminded Jiwoo that he hadn't been able to help the first time, and that the cat didn't have the power to become a monster again like before. But Jiwoo calmly responded that it would be easier to bring him back then. Touching the brim of his cap, he added that he was worried, not just about the people who could get hurt, but about the cat too. He didn't want it to be harmed. Kayden looked at Jiwoo silently for a moment, then let out a deep sigh and said he was coming with him. Jiwoo was surprised, but Kayden explained that the ominous energy outside was bothering him, and he was curious about why the cat had changed. He turned to Jiwoo and told him not to misunderstand. He wasn't going because of the cat, but because he was worried about him. Jiwoo smiled and thanked him, saying he felt more confident now that Kayden was coming. Kayden grumbled for him to stop talking and follow him, reminding him once again not to get the wrong idea. At that moment, the street was quiet and deserted. Jiwoo sprinted through the darkened streets, Kayden held securely in his arms. His legs were a blur, his feet barely seeming to touch the pavement. "Your movement is impressive," Kayden noted, his voice calm despite their speed. "Just like when you fought the other cat, your awakened speed ability is developing faster than I expected." "I can feel it," Jiwoo panted. "But what did you mean by other abilities?" "Any part of you affected by your power will grow stronger," Kayden explained. "Your nervous system, your cognitive functions. You aren't just getting faster, you're thinking faster. All awakened ones develop passive abilities related to their main power." "Right here, turn left," Kayden ordered suddenly. Jiwoo obeyed without hesitation, banking sharply into a narrow alley. "How much longer can you keep this up?" "I used it a few hours ago, so maybe 2 seconds if I go all out," Jiwoo replied. "A little longer if I use it in short bursts." 2 seconds, Kayden thought doubtfully. That wasn't much. "Straight ahead," he commanded. "I'm following his aura stream. He's close." As they neared the end of the alley, Kayden hissed, "Stop, hide." He pulled Jiwoo behind a large dumpster just as they came into view of a horrifying scene. Under the dim glow of a street lamp, a large, monstrous cat with bloody fur was facing off against a man with striking white hair. The cat was exhausted, barely able to stand. "So you came when I called," the white-haired man said with a cold smile, looking down at the creature. "But look at the state of you. How did you even escape the special cage? The seal we placed on you must have broken." At the mention of the cage, the monster cat growled, its fur standing on end. "Threatening me," the man scoffed. "It seems the experiment did make you stronger. You've awakened." Peeking from their hiding spot, Jiwoo whispered, "That's him, the cat we're looking for." "Quiet," Kayden snapped. "Don't you see that man? He's an awakened one just like you." The monster cat lunged, but the man didn't flinch. He simply raised a hand, and an unseen force slammed the animal into a brick wall. It fell to the ground, drooling and dazed. "This man is a psychokinetic," Kayden murmured, his voice laced with fear. "And a very skilled one. Look at his precise control. We can't interfere." The man walked toward the fallen animal, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. "Physically superior to an ordinary cat, but still lacking. This must be the limit of your potential." He raised his hand again as the cat struggled to rise, and a wave of scarlet energy enveloped it, smashing it into the wall once more. Jiwoo watched in horror. "We have to save him," he whispered, his hands clenched into fists. "Are you an idiot?" Kayden hissed, his eyes wide with alarm. "That man is on another level. This isn't like fighting that other cat. He's a true awakened. If you interfere, he will kill you, or worse, hunt you for the rest of your life. Being awakened doesn't give him the right to be so cruel," Jiwoo shot back. "He won't just let you walk away with his prize," Kayden argued. "Use your head." Jiwoo fell silent. For his whole life, the world of the awakened had been a fantasy. Now that it was real, he felt a paralyzing mix of inspiration and terror. Kayden was right. Fighting this man was suicide. The psychokinetic smirked as the cat tried to flee, and with a flick of his wrist, he dragged it back through the air. It crashed to the ground, finally unconscious. "The expectations were higher," the man said with a sigh, "but the result is a success. Time to collect my sample." As the man reached for the cat, Jiwoo made his decision. "I'm not going to fight him," he said, pulling his cap down low. "I'm just going to save the cat." "He'll see you," Kayden warned desperately. "An awakened one's perception is leagues beyond a normal human's. Your speed won't be enough to hide you." "I'm sorry, Kayden. I know you're worried," Jiwoo said softly, "but I have to do this." Before Kayden could argue further, Jiwoo activated his power. In the space between one blink and the next, he was gone from behind the dumpster and standing directly in front of the white-haired man. He scooped the injured cat into his arms just as the man's eyes widened in shock. "Where did this child?" The man's thought was cut short as he lashed out with his power, striking the spot where the boy and cat had been. But they were already gone. He whirled around, seeing nothing but an empty street. "A bloodhound," the man whispered in a panic, clutching his head. "They found me already. I have to get out of here before the others arrive." Miles away, Jiwoo finally stopped, his heart pounding with adrenaline. "You're insane," Kayden shouted, leaping from his shoulder. "Do you have any idea the danger you've put us in? He knows about you now." But Jiwoo wasn't listening. He looked down at the injured cat wrapped in his jacket, a wide, triumphant smile spreading across his face. "It's strange," he said, looking up at the sky. "Today, for the first time, I realized this power isn't something I have to hide. I can actually do something with it. It feels amazing." Kayden stared, momentarily speechless. The kid is hopeless, he thought, though a flicker of grudging admiration sparked within him. But he actually did it. His speed. It was faster than I thought possible. Meanwhile, in a sterile lab, the white-haired man slammed his fist on a table. "My test subject was stolen, right from under my nose," he raged to a younger man named Wyan. "I thought the bloodhounds had come for me, but they stole my specimen before I could verify the results." He turned to Wyan, his eyes gleaming with cold fury. "We can't leave this city without it. Use all the data we've collected. We are going to find that specimen and the boy who took it." Kayden placed his paw on the injured cat's body, and a soft blue haze emanated from underneath it as he began the healing process. Jiwoo watched anxiously from a nearby chair. When Kayden finally removed his paw, Jiwoo leaned in. "Is he okay?" Kayden explained that while the rescued cat was exhausted, his life was not in danger. Jiwoo sighed with relief, stroking the gray cat's ear. "I thought it would be much worse after what that man did to him." Kayden elaborated that a normal cat would have died, but an animal that had undergone an awakening becomes strong enough to endure such blows. "So this little guy is awakened too?" Jiwoo asked. When Kayden confirmed it, Jiwoo smiled faintly, suggesting, "Then awakened felines is a more fitting term." A thoughtful frown crossed Kayden's face. He suspected this cat wasn't fully awakened, but rather forced into it through an experiment. The memory of the white-haired psychokinetic came to mind, and Kayden realized the man was likely part of a group conducting these forbidden tests. The gravity of their situation settled heavily on him. Noticing his friend's dark expression, Jiwoo asked, "What's wrong?" Kayden lightly smacked him on the head. "Everything's fine," he snapped. "Aside from the fact you made things 100 times more difficult by getting in the way of a powerful awakened." Jiwoo touched his head, protesting. "I couldn't just leave him there to die." "The problem isn't that we saved the cat," Kayden shouted, baring his fangs. "The problem is that we ran away from that psycho and he saw us. He will definitely come for us." Jiwoo's eyes widened. "But why, just for saving an animal?" Kayden realized with a jolt that Jiwoo had no idea what they'd stumbled into. Experiments on forced awakening were one of the greatest taboos in their world. That psychokinetic wouldn't just let living witnesses walk away with the physical proof of his crimes. He would hunt them down and kill them to maintain his secret. Kayden considered explaining the full, terrifying reality to Jiwoo, but decided against it. The boy had only just learned of the Awaken's existence. Burdening him with this knowledge would do more harm than good. The two sat in tense silence, avoiding eye contact. Finally, Jiwoo broke it. "I'm sorry," he mumbled. "I was too stubborn, and now you're upset." Kayden stood on his hind legs, pointing a paw at him. "Do you really think I'm worried about you? I'm in this state because I have to clean up your mess, not because I'm concerned for your life." "Got it." Jiwoo straightened up and nodded. "Yeah, I got it." The tense atmosphere was broken by a vibrating phone on the table. Jiwoo picked it up, surprised to see it was already 7 in the morning. He hadn't slept at all. As he started to get dressed, Kayden asked where he was going. "To school," Jiwoo replied, pouring food into bowls for the cats. "I've left you guys some food, so don't forget to eat." He paused at the door. "What if the new cat wakes up and goes crazy while I'm gone?" Kayden promised to look after him, privately nodding that the new cat was far too weak to cause any trouble. Smiling, Jiwoo clapped his hands. "You're so cool, Kayden." Kayden puffed out his chest. "Of course I'm the great Kayden. I wouldn't normally even talk to a schoolboy like you." Jiwoo grinned. "Right now, you're just a fat cat." Kayden ordered him to shut up as he hid behind the door. Jiwoo peeked back out, his expression turning serious. "Hey, you'll be here when I get back, right? Please stay here and rest until you're fully recovered. Promise me." Before Kayden could answer, Jiwoo was gone, the click of the door echoing in the quiet apartment. Left alone, Kayden walked to the window, staring at his reflection with displeasure. He couldn't refuse the kid's request. Just then, he heard a noise. The other stray cats Jiwoo cared for had emerged and were cautiously approaching the food bowls. Kayden growled, "How dare you try to steal my food?" The cats flinched, but he paused, a memory of Jiwoo finding him, injured and alone, flashing in his mind. With a sigh of resignation, he lay down and allowed the other cats to eat. A little later, his own stomach rumbled. Noticing a box of canned food, he approached it, wondering how to get it open. Then a thought struck him. Releasing a single sharp claw, he sliced the can open with a clean swipe. A wide, victorious grin spread across his face. His triumph was short-lived, as the other cats immediately crept up behind him, their eyes glowing with hunger. When Jiwoo returned from school, he was greeted by a strange sight. All the cats, including a very well-fed Kayden, were sleeping soundly on the floor in pillows. Surrounding them was a pile of empty cans, each one bearing a single, precise slash mark on its side. Jiwoo squatted down, utterly bewildered. How in the world, he wondered aloud, did they manage to open all of these?